tell you what happened to me in Pluckley. Not because I want to relive it, but because someone needs to know, in case I don't make it through another night. 3 weeks ago, I was a different person. Confident. Rational. I didn't believe in ghosts. I thought people who claimed to see them were either lying or delusional. I was so sure of myself, so certain that the world was exactly what it appeared to be. I was wrong. It started when my editor assigned me a story. I'm a journalist, or I was, for a travel magazine. Do a piece on England's most haunted village, she said, laughing like it was a joke. Pluckley, in Kent. Should be good for Halloween content, you know. Spooky atmosphere, local legends, maybe interview some believers. I rolled my eyes and took the assignment. Easy money. I'd go down there, take some moody photographs, interview a few superstitious locals, maybe spend a night in a supposedly haunted pub, and write it all up with just enough dramatic flair to satisfy the readers while making it clear I didn't buy any of it. The drive down should have been my first warning. The GPS kept glitching, trying to reroute me through roads that didn't exist. My phone battery drained from full to 15% in 20 minutes, and the closer I got to Pluckley, the heavier the air felt, like I was driving into water instead of through countryside. When I finally arrived, it was mid-afternoon, but the sun had disappeared behind clouds so thick they looked bruised. The village was quaint. That's the word everyone uses. Picturesque. Tudor houses, narrow lanes, a church with a square tower that seemed to watch me as I parked my car. I'd booked a room at the Black Horse pub. The landlord was waiting for me at the door. He looked at my press badge and his expression changed instantly, from welcoming to something else. Pity, maybe, or fear.
How long are you staying?
3 nights. Plenty of time to get the story.
He handed me a key, then grabbed my wrist. His grip was tight, desperate.
Listen to me very carefully. Do not go out after dark. Do not investigate alone. And if you hear screaming, stay in your room. Do you understand?
I pulled my hand away, unsettled but trying to hide it with a professional smile.
I'll be fine. I've done dozens of these stories.
Not here you haven't, he said. Then he turned and walked away, leaving me standing in the doorway with my bag and my misplaced confidence. The first few hours were normal. I walked around the village, took photographs, noted the locations mentioned in the guidebook. There's supposedly a spot where a highwayman was pinned to a tree with a sword, a schoolhouse where a phantom teacher still rings a bell, a stretch of road where a coach and horses appear from nowhere. Standard ghost story fare. Tragic deaths, restless spirits, all the usual tropes. But then I met Mrs. Parsons. She was ancient, sitting on a bench outside the church, feeding birds with trembling hands. When she saw me with my camera, she beckoned me over.
You're here for them, Rosalia.
Just doing research for an article.
She smiled, but there was no warmth in it.
They know you're here too. They always know when someone comes looking.
A chill ran down my spine, but I forced myself to laugh it off. The ghosts, you mean? 12 documented spirits, she said.
But that's not accurate. There are dozens, maybe hundreds.
This village has been here for 1,000 years, and death has never been kind to it. She told me stories. The red lady who searches for her dead child. The screaming man who burned alive. The Watercress Woman who sits by Pinnock Bridge, smoking her pipe. Her flesh still charred from the fire that killed her. That's the one you need to be careful of, Mrs. Parsons said, gripping my hand with surprising strength.
She's the gatekeeper. If she shows herself to you, the others will come too. All of them.
I thanked her and moved on, still not believing but feeling increasingly uncomfortable. Something about the way she spoke, the certainty in her eyes, got under my skin. I decided to visit Pinnock Bridge before sunset, get some photos, maybe set up for a night shot later. Just routine investigative journalism. The bridge was old stone, covered in moss, stretching over a narrow stream that moved too fast for its size. The water looked black, reflecting nothing. I set up my camera on a tripod, adjusted the settings, and waited for the light to hit just right. That's when I smelled it, tobacco smoke. Strong, sweet, unmistakable, but there was no one around. I spun in a circle, searching for the source, and that's when I saw her. She was sitting on the far side of the bridge, an old woman in rags that looked wet and charred. Her face was wrong, the skin melted, the features distorted, and in her hand, a pipe glowing red in the gathering darkness. My rational mind tried to explain it. A local playing a prank, someone in costume. But my body knew better. My hands were shaking so hard I couldn't focus the camera. My breath came in short gasps. Every instinct I had was screaming at me to run. The woman looked directly at me and smiled. I've never seen anything more terrible than that smile. It wasn't malicious or cruel. It was empty. A void where humanity should be. She stood up, and her movements were all wrong, like something that had forgotten how bodies work. And then she started walking toward me. I ran. I don't remember the route back to the pub. My legs carried me through streets that seemed to shift and change, through fog that materialized from nowhere, past shadows that moved independently of any light source. I could hear her behind me. Not footsteps, but something else. A presence. A weight. I burst through the door of the Black Horse at full sprint. The landlord took one look at my face and poured me a whiskey without asking.
You saw her.
I couldn't speak. I just nodded.
Then they'll all come for you tonight.
He said quietly.
The Watercress Woman is the first. She's always the first. Once she marks you, the others know. They hunt together.
That's insane, Fibo.
I managed to say, but my voice had no conviction. Lock your door, he said.
Don't open it for anything, no matter what you hear, no matter what you see. And pray that sunrise comes quickly.
I went to my room, locked the door, wedged a chair under the handle, drew all the curtains, and waited. At 11:47 p.m. it started. First, the screaming. A man's voice, high and agonized, coming from just outside my window. I pressed my hands over my ears, but the sound went through them, through the walls, through everything. Then footsteps in the hallway, slow, deliberate, stopping outside my door. The handle turned. Once, twice, 3 times. A voice spoke through the door, a woman's voice, gentle and sweet. Please let me in. I'm lost. I need help. I bit my tongue to keep from responding. Blood filled my mouth. Please, the voice said again. My baby is missing. Have you seen my baby? The Red Lady. I knew it was her. Mrs. Parsons had described her. A mother searching endlessly for a child who died centuries ago. The door shook in its frame. The chair scraped across the floor. I grabbed it, threw my weight against it, holding it in place with everything I had. And then silence. I thought it was over. I thought maybe I'd survived. But when I turned around, she was in the room with me. The Watercress Woman, standing in the corner. Her burned face tilted at that same unnatural angle. Smoke curled from her clothes, filling the room with the smell of charred flesh and tobacco. I pressed myself against the door, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. She moved closer. Each step left wet, black footprints on the carpet. When she was close enough to touch, she reached out one ruined hand. I felt her fingers on my forehead. They were cold, impossibly cold. And suddenly I wasn't in the room anymore. I was drowning, burning, screaming. I lived a dozen deaths in a dozen different ways. I felt the sword through my chest, the flames on my skin, the water filling my lungs, the rope around my neck. Every ghost in Pluckley was showing me their death, making me feel it, live it, experience every moment of their agony. And underneath it all, I felt their rage. Not at me, but at the living, at everyone who had watched them die and done nothing, at the cruelty and indifference that had killed them. When I came back to myself, it was dawn. I was lying on the floor, my clothes soaked with sweat, my throat raw from screaming. The room was empty, normal, as if nothing had happened. But on the wall, written in something that looked like ash, were words.
You know now. Tell them. Make them remember.
I packed my things with shaking hands and left immediately. Didn't check out, didn't say goodbye, just got in my car and drove. I made it 20 miles before I had to pull over and vomit. That was 3 weeks ago. I tried to write the article. I tried to tell the truth about what happened, but every time I sat down at my computer, the words wouldn't come, or they'd come wrong, twisted into something that made no sense. And every night, I hear the screaming. Every night, I smell tobacco smoke. Every night, I feel that cold touch on my forehead, and for a moment, I'm back there, dying a dozen deaths. Last night, I saw the Watercress Woman standing at the foot of my bed, right here in London, 200 miles from Pluckley. She didn't speak, she just pointed to my computer. Then she vanished. I understand now. They want their story told. Not some sanitized version for a travel magazine. Not some spooky campfire tale. The truth. The real horror of what that village is. Pluckley isn't haunted by ghosts. It's haunted by memory. By centuries of people dying alone. Forgotten. Ignored by their neighbors. Every spirit there was killed by indifference. By cruelty. By a community that turned away rather than help. And they won't rest. They can't rest, because forgetting is what killed them, and they'll do anything to make sure no one ever forgets again. So I'm telling you now, I'm writing this down. I'm putting it out there, hoping it's enough, hoping they'll leave me alone. But I don't think they will, because 3 hours ago, my landlord knocked on my door. When I opened it, he looked confused. "Did you order a delivery?" he asked. "There's a package outside your flat, no return address." I opened it 10 minutes ago. Inside was a pipe, old, burned, smelling of tobacco, and a note written in that same ash-like substance. "Come back, we're not finished with you. The sun is setting now. I can smell the smoke getting stronger. I can hear footsteps in the hallway, even though I know I'm alone. I'm going to lock my door. I'm going to turn on every light. I'm going to try to make it through the night. But if you're reading this, if somehow this gets published, please listen to me. Never go to Pluckley. Never investigate the ghosts. Never think you're brave enough or skeptical enough to face what's there, because they don't want believers or skeptics. They want witnesses. They want people to carry their story, to spread their warning. And once you've been marked, once the Watercress Woman has shown herself to you, you belong to them forever. The door handle is turning now. I can see it moving, and I can smell the smoke. She's here. They're all here. God help me, they're all... Pluckley is a real village in Kent, England. It's actually in the Guinness Book of Records as the most haunted village in Britain. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, hit subscribe for more horror stories. Stay safe out there. And remember, some places should stay uninvestigated. If you hear screaming, stay inside.